Hi everyone, Dr. Suneel Dhand, internal medicine physician. Welcome to another video. I want to talk about a very important topic in this video, one that I see regularly occur in over 65s, and it can be life-changing and disastrous. And I want to focus on natural ways to prevent this happening because I really do see it happen all the time. And I think a lot of the time this is preventable. But before I even get into that topic, this is going to be a tea with Dr. Dhand style video. I have my amazing cup of tea here. Oh, that's so good. Those of you who watched my video yesterday know that I, like a lot of people around the country, are celebrating RFK's appointment as Health and Human Services Secretary. And I really do think that this means that the country does have a fair chance now of really addressing health and well-being, taking on the disgraceful medical industrial complex that profits so much from people being sick. And I know that RFK talks a lot about health in children, but I believe that if his policies actually become real, if, of course, he's a politician, we have to hold politicians accountable. If he follows through on his promises and is given the tools to do so, I believe it will benefit everybody of all ages, children, young adults, middle-aged adults, and also older adults. So let's watch this space carefully. Today is also Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to anybody celebrating. And on that note, our natural supplement store is running a special this Valentine's Day weekend, 20% off. I've included a discount code down below for anybody interested, my own personally formulated natural supplements. Check it out down below. So let's get to our topic then. What am I talking about? This devastating occurrence in over 65s. Well, I am talking about falling. Yes, falling. This is a well-known entity in anybody who is older in particular, because the consequences can truly be life-changing. So I know I use an age cutoff of 65. A 65-year-old is not the same as an 85-year-old, but I would say that most adults, most older adults that I see in the hospital admitted with a fall, maybe they've had a really bad injury, they could have fractured their femur, they could have got a hip fracture in other words, or they could have fractured another part of their body, maybe their arm or their wrist, or they're badly bruised up somewhere else. The vast majority are in their 70s and 80s. But I think it's very important for anybody who's in their 60s to start thinking about this, because it's so crucial that you do everything you can to naturally improve your strength so that you don't suffer with falls, or at least have a lower chance of falling. Of course, accidents can happen at any time. We can only be as careful as we can and lower the risk of it occurring. And coming back to Valentine's Day again, I can't tell you the number of times I see a couple come into the hospital. They've been married for many years. They were fully independent. And one of them, either the husband or the wife, has suffered a really bad fall. And it's almost painful to listen to because you hear the story, and I know in the back of my mind, according to everything I've seen before and patterns in previous patients with a similar admission, that their lives are not going to be the same again for a long time. Maybe they won't be the same again for a very long time if it's a really bad fall with a very bad injury. So that is to highlight again how important it is to do everything possible to lower the risk of falling, especially if you're independent. You don't want that independence stolen away from you. You don't want to end up in a rehabilitation or, worse still, long-term care, which was all precipitated by a bad fall. So let's go then. Here are 8 natural ways to avoid falling and lower the risk of it happening. So let me have a cup of my tea again before we get started. Okay, so I made some notes here. We'll start off with number 1. Optimizing vision and hearing. This should go without saying, but you would be surprised how many people miss this. It's really important that you regularly make sure that your vision and hearing is what it should be. Regularly get checked if there are any concerns. Make sure you're up to date with your eyewear. But you really need to keep those appointments, and it becomes more important with each passing year. Hopefully you have a good clinician, a good optometrist, for example, who you can trust. And on that note, common sense again, good lighting at home, super important. If you get up at night, say to use the bathroom, turn on the light. No need to leave the light off. I know you know your own house and you think you can get to the bathroom without turning the light on, but always turn it on. And if you wear glasses, put the glasses on before you start walking. So very simple thing to start off with. Number one, make sure you optimize your vision and hearing. Number two, strength and balance training. We touched upon this recently. A lot of people get intimidated slightly if they hear the word training. Please don't be intimidated by that at all. What strength training means is basically optimizing your muscle function, making sure your muscles are as strong as they can be. Doesn't mean becoming a bodybuilder. And you can even do simple body exercises. So I've listed a few here. Tai Chi, for instance. A lot of older adults benefit from Tai Chi. I've heard some great things about Tai Chi. And then do other things for your balance, like single leg stands. How long can you stand on one leg? Obviously do this safely. Make sure if you're unsteady that you don't fall over. But that's a really good simple exercise. Stand on one leg for as long as you can. See how long you can do it. Hopefully you can get longer and longer with time. And now let's focus on the strength side of things, because I would like you to particularly focus on your lower body and your core. And there are lots of online videos out there specifically for over 65s. I could go into more detail, but the video might be too long if I get into my thoughts, because I'm also a personal trainer, certified personal trainer, as well as a doctor. But to give you some simple ones, if we're talking about lower body compound exercises, you can do squats. You can do Romanian deadlifts. That's not as intimidating as it sounds. You can do lunges. You can do dumbbell or kettlebell swings. All of those things will strengthen your lower body and your core. You can even do some calf extensions while holding dumbbells at your side. And specifically focusing on your core, you can do planks, you can do sit-ups, you can do power-ups. There are lots of different moves that you can do. Again, many online videos out there. But remember to keep your lower body and your core as strong as possible. Okay, number three, following on from that, some specific gait and posture exercises. We already mentioned Tai Chi, which uses different postures to strengthen different muscles and improve your gait. But simple ones like marching in place. Stand up as upright as you can and simply march like you're a soldier. Do that and try to stay as steady as possible. Do it for as long as you can. You can do simple tandem walking, so heel to toe walking. That's a really good one, but obviously be careful. Make sure you don't fall over. Ideally be doing it on a softer surface, a carpet, and do that in a line. Say do 20 steps and then come back again. Heel toe walking, really good, easy exercise to do. And you can do other exercises, but what I would urge you to do with posture is focus on staying as upright as possible. A lot of people, particularly as they get older, will become more slumped. They might get slightly hunchback, but focus on staying as upright as possible when you walk. I have a very close family member who has this bad habit of putting his hands behind his back when he walks, and that kind of results in him slumping forwards a bit. I think he's going to watch this video so he knows who he is, but really important, you take care to be as upright as possible when you walk. Keep that good posture. Okay, number 4 now. Focusing on home safety, really simple common sense things like reduce clutter in the house so that you're not going to fall over something. A lot of people, especially with each passing year, tend to get more and more clutter in their houses. Make sure that you haven't got things like loose rugs lying around. And then what I'm going to really recommend, I think this is a fantastic idea, and some people, particularly in their 60s, might be a bit reluctant to do this, but install grab bars on your shower, install grab bars on stairs. Really important. If you have stairs with nothing to hold on to, that is not a good idea. I would highly recommend, particularly if you're alone. I know some older people like to think they can do this without holding on. Okay, fair enough. If you want to do it without holding on, you can do it during the day. But particularly at times where you're alone or it's nighttime, please hold on to the sidebar. Don't go down the stairs, and obviously don't rush down the stairs really fast or even up the stairs, because a lot of older adults fall on stairs and the consequences can obviously be disastrous. Much more horrible injuries can happen on stairs than on a flat surface. Another one here, which I think is important, and this was brought up to me recently by somebody who's in their 70s, is the type of flooring you have. Now, I know that nowadays hardwood floors are in, but I actually think hardwood floors are not the best for older people. I would definitely recommend carpets wherever possible. Hardwood floors are bad for a number of reasons, including they are more slippery, and also if you do fall, you're going to fall on a harder surface as opposed to a carpet. So carpets, I actually prefer carpets anyway. I think they're better, especially in colder climates. Okay, what do we have here? Number 5, wearing supportive footwear. So take great care with your shoes. Make sure they have good grip. Remember, this is not a fashion statement here. You want something sensible and practical. Avoid things that are loose, like really loose slippers are not a good idea. And some socks are really better than others. You will notice, or hopefully you haven't, but maybe you've seen hospital socks in other people which have those special grips at the bottom. You can get similar style socks online. But at the very least, especially in the winter, some thicker socks are probably better, and make sure that they're not prone to being slippery and will result in you falling more easily. Okay, time for another cup of my tea. All right, what do we have next? That was number 5, wearing supportive footwear. So number 6, getting enough vitamin D. We touched upon this recently. Vitamin D is not only crucial for strong bones, but it's also crucial for anybody's immune and metabolic health. I'm a huge fan of emphasizing at every opportunity, get enough vitamin D. So many ways to get vitamin D. You can get it naturally from sunlight, step outside. Might be a bit difficult if you live in a colder climate to get enough vitamin D from the sun. You can get vitamin D from food. Many foods nowadays are fortified with vitamin D. Again, it's a bit difficult to get enough only from food. And the reality is that most people nowadays, especially in our current culture of being indoors more, and especially in older adults, will need additional vitamin D supplementation. So think very carefully about all of the different ways that you can get vitamin D. I'm a huge fan. I take supplements myself. I take more supplements in the wintertime than I do in the summertime. And actually, having gone through many different vitamin D supplements over the years and struggling to find good ones and ones that I actually trust, that's why I formulated my own vitamin D3 supplement, also containing vitamin K2, collagen, calcium, and zinc. That link is down below for anyone who's interested, but wherever you get your vitamin D from, I would like you to make sure that you get enough vitamin D. Please be thinking about that. Really important for many different body systems, but obviously with fall risk, you want to have those strong bones. Okay, what do we have next? Number 7. Eating enough protein to stay strong. Most people over the age of 65 are not getting enough protein. You want a minimum of 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. So 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So however much you weigh in pounds, divide that by 2.2 and you will get a number. And that's a bare minimum. To be honest, if there's no contraindications, I would prefer that it gets closer to 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. But start off with 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. If you can get to that, because in my experience, probably a half to 2/3 of older adults are not getting even a half to 2/3 of their recommended daily protein amount. Think how much that is going to set anybody back and result in their muscles not being strong. And obviously, if your muscles are not strong, you're going to have a higher chance of falling. Go for the natural sources of protein as much as you can. I'm really not a fan of the fake protein drinks. You can certainly use a protein supplement. Make sure that the powder is clean, it's minimally processed and low in sugar. But natural protein, wherever you choose to get it, whether it's from eggs, dairy, meat, fish, plant-based protein, be mindful of getting enough protein. Okay, what do we have next to reduce the risk of falling? Number 8, stay hydrated. Why am I talking about staying hydrated? Well, hydration is extremely crucial for maintaining blood pressure, for making sure your metabolic health is as good as it can be. And lots of people out there, lots of older people particularly, do not stay well hydrated, and that results in changes to blood pressure, results in the blood pressure being prone to dropping and a higher risk of falling. Obviously, before that, you might get other symptoms like dizziness, but how much water should you be drinking? Well, how long is a piece of string? It really varies by individual, but I would say as a rough ballpark, at least 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. Does tea or coffee count? Well, it does. Of course, there's a mild diuretic effect. You are prone to urinating after drinking tea and coffee, but the overall net effect will be positive. It's still hydration, but you can't go wrong with good, pure water. If you want to add lemon to it, great, but make sure you stay very well hydrated. And that also in studies has been shown to maintain adequate balance and coordination. Very important factors there for reducing the risk of falling. Okay, what do we have next? Metabolically healthy. Stay as metabolically healthy as you can. Why is this important? Well, obviously, if you have other chronic illnesses which are going to make you weaker, you're going to have a higher chance of falling. Let's take type 2 diabetes or even pre-diabetes as an example. That is going to result in a number of potential complications, including neuropathy. Your nerves might not be what they should be. And of course, if you can't feel correctly, that's going to affect your balance and your posture, resulting in falling. People with type 2 diabetes have a vastly increased chance of falling. We've already talked about high blood pressure. All of these things are intrinsically linked to metabolic health, inflammation, and insulin resistance, which I've talked about many times before. But you really want to focus on being as insulin sensitive as you can. So make sure that you have a good optimal weight. Do your best to try to naturally lose excess body fat, and always be thinking in terms of what can I do naturally to reduce my chances of having type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. But never forget the importance of metabolic health for reducing the chances of falling. And while we're on that subject, medication lists. Please regularly review your medication lists with your doctor, because a lot of people, as they get older, their blood pressure might start to fluctuate. A lot of people will find that their blood pressure naturally lowers. I'm talking usually in their 70s and 80s, and I find it utterly tragic because so many people in their 50s and 60s will get started on medications, 2, 3, 4, 5 blood pressure medications sometimes even more than that. And then as they get older, they naturally don't need as many blood pressure medications because physiologically things change. And their medication list is not regularly reviewed. And before you know it, those medications are resulting in a low blood pressure. And that will, of course, lead people to feel dizzy and have more of a chance of falling and suffering a horrible injury. So that is all intrinsically linked as well to metabolic health, because many people get started on these medications because of poor metabolic health in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Okay, so those are 8 natural ways that you can lower the risk of falling. I'm going to go through them again. Number 1, optimize vision and hearing. Number 2, strength and balance training. Number 3, gait and posture exercises. Number 4, home safety modifications. Number 5, wearing supportive footwear. Number 6, getting enough vitamin D. Number 7, eating enough protein to stay strong. Number 8, staying hydrated. And the bonus one was staying metabolically healthy. So please think about that. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, I'm going to say once again, because I find it so sad when I work in the hospital and somebody who was fairly healthy, independent, and out of the blue, as accidents do tend to happen, they suffer a nasty fall, they come into the emergency room, an X-ray or a CT scan will show a really bad fracture, maybe they're really bruised up as well. It's so sad again when you see people, their faces are really bruised up after a fall. And then I know inside what's going to come next. They're going to come into the hospital, the orthopedic team will see them, often surgery will be required, and then there'll be a prolonged recovery. But a certain percentage of these people never get to go home again, very sadly. And like I said at the beginning, I will sit down usually with a couple and I'll be thinking in the back of my head, my goodness, you had this independent life, you are enjoying your old age, your retirement, you are enjoying time with your grandchildren, but I know that your life is not going to be the same for a long time, and it's going to be a big, big fight to get back to your previous independent way of living. I don't want to scare you excessively. There are lots of people that do get back to their prior baseline, but lots do not. So it's on everyone. Really do everything you can, because remember, this isn't only about you. This is a life-changing event for your family as well. Your spouse, your children. Things really change after a bad fall if you suffer a horrible injury, broken bones, etc. So keep focusing on doing everything you can to stay away from the hospital. Keep yourself as healthy as you can naturally. That is the motto. And it's all about hitting as many tick boxes as you can. There are never any guarantees in life, but it is well worth trying and doing your best. So on that note, I wish you the very best of health. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Thank you for watching, everyone. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Check the links in the description down below as well for all of the other work I do, my website, my natural supplements, and also my free newsletter. If you're not already signed up for that, please do. Hit the like button if you like this video and the subscribe button for more similar videos in the future. Do share this video with anyone else who may benefit from it. We will speak again very soon.